Hey everybody. So look, I'm actually making a video within a reasonable time frame from when I made the last video. First of all, I have to adjust my chair because it's a little too low. So anyway, I want to start by saying a huge thank you to everyone who wrote all those amazing comments on my last video. It was just, I need to scooch the camera over because it's bugging me where it is. It was like wonderfully overwhelming. There's just so many of us out there that are kind of in the same place, and it just made me so happy to see people sharing and people being supportive and about the situation with my mom and about autism and figuring stuff out and getting older and all of the things that I kind of talked about. And I wanted to like go in. Okay, so let me explain. So I'm going to talk about how I'm trying the unmasking process. So, highlight, quick overview. I have been masking at least my entire adult life, probably started figuring out how to do that in my tweens and teens. And, so basically pretending to be neurotypical when I am absolutely not. And that comes and has come for me at a really high cost to my mental and physical health. And so I'm trying to figure out, keep in mind I'm 56 years old, like I don't know who I really am. I mean, I know what my soul is. I know I'm a good person. I have, anyway, that's a whole other video. But anyway, so how the heck do we start unmasking, and why would I unmask? Well, because I'm trying to see if I can alleviate some of the like psychic and psychological burden that I put on myself by masking. So if I were masking, I felt that what I should do is I should go and answer every single comment with really long answers, because I felt like that's what I was supposed to do. And it probably is what I'm supposed to do. But see, here's the other side of it. Other part of me was feeling extremely overwhelmed by that, very anxious about it, very anxious that I would not do honor to the comments, or I would say the wrong thing to the commenter, that it would take forever and I wouldn't know what to say, and that the whole thing would end up being a huge failure. And so I was really stressing out about it. Every day I would say to myself, okay, today we're going to sit down and we're going to answer all of those beautiful comments. And then I would have like a lot of anxiety about it. And then I realized I'm missing an earring. Am I missing an earring? No, I'm not. Okay, you were like, what? Because there's just like a random earring sitting here on my desk. Anyway, I thought to myself, well, what would I tell my son about this? Now, younger me, back in the olden days, before I understood really autism and my son's struggles, I would have forced him to do it. Because this is the right thing to do. This is the polite thing to do. And I wouldn't have understood what that was going to cost him. And so when I stop and I think about what I'm making myself do, and I'm going through the unmasking process, I try to think about, if I were my own parent, what would I tell myself? What would I tell my son in this situation? And so what I realized was I needed to say, it's okay to not answer every single one of those comments. It's okay to not answer any of those comments if it's going to make you anxious, nervous, upset, afraid, stress you out. But what you do like to do is make videos. So you could just make a video with thing that you're very comfortable doing, telling everybody how much everything they said meant to you. And so that's what I'm doing. And that's part of unmasking for me. It's like learning to give myself accommodations. And this is going to be the rest of my life. I'm, I'll be on my deathbed still fully masked, probably. I'll be like thanking all of the nurses and doctors for their time and telling them what a great job they're doing and asking them about their days and making small talk when really I should just be dying. Because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to make small talk. And but unmasking's been really interesting for me, and really sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes it's saying no to social things that I would normally have said yes to because you're supposed to. Like I said, how I didn't go to the St. Patrick's Day buffet thing with my husband because didn't really, no, that would not have been fun for me. And there are going to be things in like we have a birthday party coming up. It's his friend's 40th birthday and they're doing like a whole thing and with a bunch of couples, and definitely my idea of a potential nightmare situation, but I'm going because this is one that I feel like I need to suck it up for, you know? And so figuring all that out has been interesting. Along the way, I have started to somehow unlock memories of me as a kid that I locked away that would be answers to anyone who, this one in particular, anyone who would say to me, oh, please, you're not autistic. Oh my God, everybody thinks you're autistic. You're so not autistic. Okay, so when I was a little girl, story time, settle down. This is a good one. This is a really good one. This is so obscure. When I told my son, his eyes were like, what? Okay, so if you, I don't know how into cars you are, but you know, I don't even know if cars still have dipsticks, but back in the day, so I grew up in the 70s, right? We had a lot of cars because my grandparents each had a car, my mom had a car, whoever my stepfather was at the time would have a car, and then later on, my brother's 7 years older than me, so then he had a car. But I don't know if I ever did it to his car. But anyway, so my stepfather, my first stepfather was a mechanic. So I used to watch him work on the cars and stuff, and he showed me dipsticks. He showed me how a dipstick works to check the oil. And he had this rag in the garage, and that was like his dipstick rag. It hung like on the place in the garage, and he showed me how you pull it out, you wipe it off, then you stick it back down in the tube, and then you pull it out and see, here's like the levels, and it'll show you how much oil you have. And also you want the oil to be like transparent, you don't want it to be black, you don't want it to be gunky. Like he taught me a life, a very useful life lesson thing, right? So that was great. So I thought that was the coolest fucking thing in the whole world. Pardon my French. So I got really into checking everybody's oil. So, other kids might be outside jump roping. Mind you, loved jump roping. I jump roped my brains out. Loved jump roping. Great stim. But when I was out there in the yard alone looking for something to do, I would get very excited because I would check the oil in all of the cars. And I would do it like repeatedly. Like I wouldn't just do it once because it was so satisfying to which remind me, I have to get back to oddly satisfying to dip and then we wipe it off and you dip it in and you're like, oh, and I would do it. I would do it to all the cars. I would do it a lot. So first of all, you're wondering, Melissa, was anybody ever like low on oil, or was like their oil look gunky? Well, yes. And did you tell them? No, because that would have been so weird, right? Like, I knew, even as a little kid, that me being obsessed with dipsticks was not normal. So I never told anybody. I buried this information for decades. And so that thought process yesterday, that came out while I was on a walk. And then I thought about oddly satisfying. And I think maybe autistic people are big fans of oddly satisfying videos. Maybe it's just everybody. Maybe it's autistic people. Like I'll watch people mow their lawn, like a video. Like I love to watch them edge and stuff. Like it's oddly satisfying. Let me explain to you how oddly satisfying works when you're growing up in the 70s and you're autistic. So we had linoleum floors. And in the kitchen, we had this ugly white and black linoleum floor. And it was always, I mean, it was a kitchen, it was people walking through it all the time. And so somewhere along the line, as a little kid, I learned how to wash the floor. And I discovered you start in one corner and you kind of work your way out of the room. And washing a floor, especially when you can see the result, you scrub with the brush, and then you get the dry towels and you wipe and okay, it's oddly satisfying. And so I used to wash floors a lot because it was oddly satisfying. For my mom, my grandma, this was great. They're like, kid likes washing the floor. I was doing it because I just loved that whole procedure and progression of seeing the floor get clean. Waxing the floor was amazing. I also really liked to wax cars. Oh my God, have you ever waxed a fucking car? Oh my God, it's so good. It's so freaking good. I used to love, oh my God, I used to polish my grandfather's shoes. Polishing all of my grandfather's shoes had a dual purpose, because not only was there the whole oddly satisfying experience of shining his shoes, there was a procedure. It involved, putting the wax on and then wiping it off with another rag and then taking out this brush, this amazing brush, and doing this whole thing. And then suddenly the shoes were like glass. But the kiwi shoe polish smelled so good. So I used to shine my grandfather's shoes a lot. My grandfather had the shiniest shoes in the neighborhood. He didn't mind because free shoe shining. So then, there was the floor cleaning. And then also there was another one that we had, our dinette set in the kitchen was Formica on top with chrome legs, and all of the chairs had chrome legs. And to clean chrome back in the day, because chrome used to get a little funky, I don't know, maybe it was just the horrendous air we lived in, I'm not sure. There was this product called Noxon. And I am sure it's a huge carcinogen. But so basically you would put this blue liquidy stuff on a rag, and you would rub it all up and down the leg of the thing that you're trying to shine, and then you let it get dry, and then when it gets dry you take another rag and you rub it really hard, and then your chrome is really shiny. There's a lot of sexual jokes about shining the chrome, right? So yeah, I used to really like to do that too. Again, a dual purpose situation, because Noxon also had that extreme like chemical smell like gasoline does, and turpentine and like paint, and I really, really like that smell. So I used to shine the chrome a lot too. And one of the things that I found amusing though, just looking back on it, is like back in the 70s, the only way you got oddly satisfying content was if you cleaned the floor yourself. You shined the car yourself, the shoes, did the chrome. We didn't have any silver. I would have been polishing the shit out of silver all the time. I would have loved that, man. Oh man, but we didn't have silver. We were po. No silver in our, we probably had it at some point and sold it to for food. But yeah, so that was me as a little kid. No, I'm not at all autistic. So obviously not autistic. But I'd rather stay inside and wash the floor than go outside and play with the other kids, because it was really fun to scrub the floor and have it all be clean in the whole process. And then if I went outside and I played kickball with the kids, that would be extremely stressful, between the trying to people, the fact that my gross motor skills have always been atrocious. Somewhere I found, after my mom moved out, went to the nursing home, I found she kept like one report card for each of us. Like not all of the report cards, just one random report card. The one for me was from kindergarten, and it's, again, I'm like, yeah, well, in 1971 nobody would have even been looking for it, but I'm just like, I'm looking at like, there was this thing about, I remember the day that they did it. They made us walk on a balance beam. Like they did these weird tests, I guess, to test our gross motor skills. And apparently mine were very poor. And so that was noted. And I remember the balance beam. I was terrified. I had a complete panic attack about the balance beam. I was crying. And the teacher's like, I'll hold your hand. And I'm like, no, I need to, you know, like, oh my God. It's just so many memories keep coming back of things that I did so differently or couldn't do or thought and felt. And I'm just like, wow. You know, it's really interesting to me. And so, you know, part of, I think, my unmasking process is remembering that version of myself, is remembering and without shame, remembering the joy of shining my grandfather's shoes, of waxing a car, of doing the knocks on, especially the legs of the table, because they were thicker and like longer, and it was a longer process. Like, there was so much joy in that for me, you know? Like, you know, and I locked it all up because I knew it wasn't something I could talk about. When people would talk about childhood memories, if I started talking about how I really liked to obsessively check the oil in everyone's car, like after a while, you learn, if you're lucky enough, haha, I use lucky big time quotes. I don't know if being able to, no, you know what? I'm going to be honest. Being able to mask to the level that I am able to mask, it worked out for me because I look at people my age who were not able to mask. Life didn't go well for them. And I hope that we're in a time where autistic people can just be themselves, not have to mask, not have to shove themselves into a different mold in order to be able to like feed themselves, have a career, have a life, have relationships. Because I don't see that there was another option for me. And I'm lucky that I was able to do it as well as I was. The cost to me was tremendous. The cost to my family, because they, you know, I don't think my mom, you know, I don't even think we talked about it before she died. You know, I mean, she didn't know why I, you know, once I hit 13, I mean, I didn't want to be alive anymore. I was wrecked. And you know, I'm pretty sure she just blamed herself. And then her being an autistic person, you know, the blame was probably, you know, because she was just like, well, I'm fucked up, so my daughter's obviously fucked up. Great, I fucked up, you know. I kind of lost my train of thought there, but because I was able to mask, I was able to put together some kind of a life. And I think of people that I know who weren't able to do that or chose not to, and the world just has not been kind to them. You know, it just hasn't. And so I'm hoping that we're in a better world. I'm hoping we are. But I mean, it's nice to be able to pull out these old memories and just be joyful about that little kid, you know, because she was cool. She was a cool little kid. And she wasn't weird. There was nothing wrong with her. And, you know, I hate that she started to internalize that things that brought her joy were actually weird and she needed to stop doing them. I really hate that for her. I really, really hate that. And I hate that no matter how hard she tried to hide all the weird, it's still, you know, people still smelled it on her. Bullies can smell it on you, I swear to God. They know where somebody's going to have a weakness and they go after you. They really, really do. And yeah, bullying, not fun. So anyway, so to all of you who took the time to write beautiful, heartfelt comments, I do want you to know I read them all. And I keep reading the new ones, and I am so honored by what you've said, and it's in my heart. And so many of you shared your own souls with me and with the other people who watched the video, and it just makes me so happy. And there was one commenter, and this has been rolling around in my head since I first saw the comment, because I didn't know how to understand it, but I think I understand it. And I said that, you know, I was incredibly privileged to be with my mom and be able to, you know, give her the death experience that she and I had talked about. And I do mean that. But then the person said something like, I should have looked this up before I started filming, but they were like incredible privilege or incredible act of service or something like that. And I was able to, and this is a much longer video for another day, but it was both. You know, I made a lot of choices about my relationship with my mom. And there's some stuff that I don't know if I'm ever going to talk about on this channel that happened in my life around my mom. And I chose to, like, if I were to have said, there's the nursing home, bye, and went on with my life, and if people knew the backstory, they would have been like, okay, I could see why you would do that. But I chose differently. And I sometimes like to believe that that's because I'm a good altruistic soul. And then when I'm more lucid, I realize that it's also that last bit of time with her was, you know, the cap on a lifetime of codependency. And that's something that I need to acknowledge also. So yeah, it was an act of service to her, as well as a privilege. And it was a thing that, like I said, my brothers didn't want to. They came when I told them, you know, you better come because she's not going to be with it, you know, lucid-ish much longer. They came, they sat around for a couple hours, and then it got to be around time for the football games to start, and they left. Because that's what they were willing to give. That was it. And I'm like angry at them about it, but yeah, there's probably also, maybe I'm jealous that I didn't have that option, or that I didn't feel that I had that option, or I don't know. But that particular comment has, in a good, I know I'm getting emotional. Please don't think you made me emotional. You made me emotional in good ways of me just thinking about it and thinking about my relationship and their relationship, and how much I've judged them about choices that they made, that they made a different choice than I made. That's all. And their choices are just as valid as mine. And I just need some time. Like, I'm still angry about it though. So, you know, that's the hard thing about being alive and being human and having emotions and freaking self-awareness, is just thinking through this stuff instead of just reacting. And it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. So anyway, this was a long-winded thank you. If any of you have some key childhood memories that you think, well, it's so weird, I've never shared with anybody, please feel free to share here. This is a safe space. I was like Jiffy Lube as a kid. If only I had learned how to change oil, it would have been a lot more useful special interest. But I was a little low to be changing the oil, a little young to be changing the oil. But yeah, so I would love to hear about your own little unique things that you found. Oh wait, I just thought about another one. Oh, okay. Anyway, I got to think about that one for a while. So thank you all again for the comments, for the love, for the support, for just giving me a place to just be me, no matter what that means today. That's huge. Thank you guys. I love you so much. Mwah! Bye.